which is an Etsy shop for kids, embroidered t-shirts and tutus. So as promised, I am going to slow this footage down and show you how I make a tutu. So here I am unrolling 9 yards of tulle. This tutu is going to be an 18-month to 2T size. I get my tulle from BB Crafts, and this is tulle on the bolt. So here I'm just measuring out 9 yards of tulle. You will hear my embroidery machine in the background. I was multitasking, making samples and working on Etsy orders the same time I was making this tutu. Okay, so here I got a chair and put it in front of the desk or the table. That way when I throw my tulle down, it won't hit the floor. It'll go in the chair. If you get tulle on the floor, it collects dust, dirt, lint, any little particles, dog hair, every little bit. It's very sticky or staticky, so it collects everything. So here I'm just rolling it back up as straight as I can, or as even as I can, for getting it ready to cut. So here I'm getting ready to cut out the length I need. So here I'm cutting off all the uneven ends to make it even on one side. Then I'm going to measure 12 inches down and cut it again. So the area on the furthest from the screen is the part that's going to be used for the tutu. This extra here, I'm going to cut it down to 6 inches so that I can use it for any traditional tutus that I want to make in the future. Try to save as much of this tulle as possible. Even in the smaller sizes of ribbon trim tutus, you can cut like a 0 to 6 month, you can cut 2 tutus out of one strip. So try to save as much tulle as you can and use it for another project. Now I'm just cleaning up. Here we are at the sewing machine. I've got all my matching threads. I try to match my threads to my ribbon color and my tutu color. Some people just use white, but I think it looks better personally if you match the thread colors. So I'm just loading everything up on my machine. here I have some satin ribbon. It is 1.5 inch. I'm going to cut the end to make it even, and then I'm going to use the lighter to heat seal the end so it doesn't fray. Looks like I had to go find the lighter. I must have not had it ready. I have a cardboard box underneath my table that I side the roll of ribbon in, and I'll put the extra tulle that I'm not sewing yet into that box as well, so it keeps it from getting all the dust on it. I always put the ribbon down first and then put the tulle on top. When I sew this, I use a tension of about 4 on my machine, and it does pretty good. So here I'm just lining up all the layers. We're going to stitch them back stitch to seal it in. And now I'm lining up all the layers of tulle. When you cut the tulle, there are 2 layers of tulle stacked on top of each other. So now we're just going to stitch those 2 layers of tulle together with the ribbon. I also need to mention that this is going to be the bottom layer of ribbon. And you'll see me sliding my fingers on the tulle to line up the 2 layers the best that I can. The good thing about these tutus, it's okay if everything's not perfectly lined up. And you're going to continue stitching this down the long end of your tulle, the whole length of the 9 yards. Okay, so here I'm going to push all that tulle and ribbon right back into the box. We're going to make the channel for the elastic waistband next. So I'm going to switch out my thread colors to match the tulle. Okay, so here you're going to fold the tulle in half. Ribbon side's going to be on the bottom with the pretty side of the ribbon facing up. Here you're going to take the raw edge of the tulle without the ribbon, and place it just over the stitch line of the ribbon that you just sewn down. Then you're going to put the folded edge underneath your presser foot, leaving about 1 inch to the right of your presser foot, just to make just enough room to slide your elastic band through. This is your channel. So you're going to stitch forward, then backstitch to seal everything in, and then you're just going to straighten out your tool best you can and continue stitching with that 1 inch gap to the right of your presser foot. Take your time here, there's no rush. Just continue to adjust as you go, lining up the raw edge of the tool just over the stitch line of the ribbon and making sure both layers of tulle are lined up nicely. Sometimes the tulle will bunch up underneath the presser foot, so this is here you see me just guide that tulle underneath there so that it doesn't cause any issues. I also want to mention that I learned how to make these tutus from Angela and Pamela, so thank you ladies for your great tutorials on how to make a ribbon trim tutu. You just see me constantly adjusting to make sure everything's lined up, trying to keep the end of the tulle that doesn't have the ribbon just lined up just over the stitch line of the other tulle with the ribbon. And then you see me constantly making sure that the tulle goes under the presser foot nicely. Okay, now we're getting ready to stitch the top layer of ribbon. So I'm changing the threads again to match the color of the ribbon. Again, we're going to cut the end to make it smooth and heat seal it so it doesn't fray. So here you have the ribbon on the bottom, the empty tulle or the tulle without the ribbon on top. You're going to open it up so that your channel is facing down towards the machine and that your unsewn side or your raw side of the tulle that doesn't have the ribbon is going to slide underneath your presser foot. You're going to place your ribbon down first, put your tulle on top of it, and then you're going to stitch forward, back stitch, and stitch all the way down the long end of your tulle. see me fixing the tool because it was bunched up there. You just push it underneath your presser foot. These are very forgiving, so any little mistakes don't show in the end. So again, you have 2 layers of tulle here, and you're just stitching both of those layers down onto this ribbon. Just stitch all the way down, adjusting as you go, and you are getting close to being finished. Now you're at the end of the tulle, so you're going to trim your ribbon. I always try and heat seal both the leftover and what's going on to my tutu. You're going to do the same thing on the other side as well. I just didn't video that, sorry. Just go all the way down, back stitch to seal it in, and take it off your machine and cut your threads. So here is the elastic that I use for the waistband. You can get it at Walmart, you can get it at Hobby Lobby, Joann's. I'm going to measure out how much you need. For this tutu, I believe I need 18 inches of elastic. I will have all the measurements up to a size 6 in the description below. These measurements came from Pamela, so if you would like to see her original video, I will link that below as well. So here I'm putting a safety pin on one end. I just poke it through the elastic, close it up, make sure it's going the same direction as the elastic is, and then on this end I put a binder clip, and you'll see why I do that here in just a minute. So here you're going to open up your channel, make sure you open up both layers of tulle because you'll have 2 layers there. Then you're going to slide your safety pin into that channel and just pull your tulle over top of the elastic. You're just going to feed this through all the way to the end. So you see here I'm bringing the end of the tulle right up to that binder clip, and I'm going to close those silver pieces right over that tulle so it doesn't fall off the other end. Just keep feeding it through until you reach the other side. So here I realized I was not recording. I hit the record button on my phone, but apparently I was in picture mode, not record mode. So I am here hand stitching the elastic together. I overlap them about an inch, and then I hand stitch them together. My sewing machine does not like elastic. It just eats it and causes a big rat's nest on the back side, so I have to hand stitch. But if your sewing machine is better than mine, you'll be able to just zigzag stitch this together and it'll be much quicker than this. But I go around this hand stitching it twice. Here I am done hand stitching, so I'm going to cut the extra string off. Then I'm going to adjust the tulle around the elastic, just by sliding it around as evenly as possible so that all the tulle is evenly dispersed around this elastic band. So here I moved over to this other table. I have put the tutu on my mannequin, and now I'm just going all the way around the tutu, trying to line up both layers as evenly as possible and make the loops as even as possible. This does take some time, but it is worth it. Okay, it's bow making time. So I have a 1 yard piece of green satin ribbon. Then I have a 3-inch piece of the gold satin ribbon. We're going to take this ribbon and make kind of like an awareness ribbon shape. So here, sorry you can't really see what I'm doing. I didn't realize I didn't have it in frame, but you're just going to wrap it around your hand like this. It doesn't matter which side's on top of which side, just as long as it looks similar to this. Then just adjust your loops to your liking. Here you see me measuring. I'm trying to measure each loop about 3 inches long, just so that everything looks symmetrical. Then you're going to bunch up the center of the bow. Here again, I'm just adjusting to make everything look neat or to my liking. Sorry, it's out of frame. Next, you're going to take a piece of string or a piece of thread and just wrap it around that center where you bunched it up a couple of times, and then tie it off to hold that bunched up together. So here I'm tying off the thread as tightly as I can, just so it keeps that bunched up look in the center. So here I just cut the threads, the extra threads, move them off to the side, and now I'm just adjusting everything to my liking. You want to make sure that if you're not using double-faced satin ribbon, that on your tails that both shiny sides are facing you, or pretty sides, whichever way you describe it to yourself. For me, the shiny side is facing up. Now I'm going to take my 3-inch piece of gold ribbon, going to fold it into thirds, and then hot glue it down the long end of the ribbon to keep it folded up. So here you're going to take the gold ribbon and wrap it around the center right over the thread. Here I'm clipping just a little bit off the end to even it out on the gold ribbon, and then I'm going to heat seal it so that it doesn't fray. Sorry again, this is not in the frame. But now we're going to take a piece of hot glue, put it on the back side of that end there of the gold ribbon, and then fold it over and hold it down until it holds itself in place. Clean up your little glue strings. Then we're going to cut the other end of the gold ribbon just enough so that that piece will overlap the other side of the gold ribbon. Heat seal the end. Put a little dab of glue, and then fold it over and hold it in place so that it covers the other end of the gold ribbon. This is going to be on the back side of the bow and will not be seen once you put the bow on the tutu. So you'll have a finished side, the front side of the bow, and then the back side is where you'll glue those two ends together. So here I'm just trimming down the tails. I like to fold them in half and cut at a diagonal. Measuring the other side so that they are the same length. Fold it in half and cut at a diagonal on that side. little bit too long, so I'm going to trim it up until it is close to the same length as the other side. Heat seal the ends. And there's your bow. So here I'm just looking for the area of the elastic that I've sewed together. Just adjusting my tool a little bit so that it's evenly dispersed. I'm going to spread the tool just a little bit so there's a little thin layer of tulle over that area of the elastic that you sewn together. Place a bead of hot glue on the back side of your bow, and then just stick it right there where you made that little opening. Here I'm just holding it in place to make sure it sticks. I do not sew my bows on because when I do them they end up looking crooked, and this just works out much better for me. Here I'm fluffing the bow, and then I'm going to take this Stiff and Quick and spray the bow so that it stays nice and fluffy for a long period of time. Now I'm finding the two ends of my tulle and ribbon. I'm going to hot glue just on the ribbon and then stick both of those ribbons together so it finishes off. This gives your tutu a finished look. You don't have any raw edges showing. After doing this, you are all finished. So I'm going to leave the tutu on the mannequin for a couple of hours so that the Stiff and Quick takes effect. And then I'll package it up and send it on its way. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, put those in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.